Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the 3-Hour News Show. And this is our segment. This is See the Stories. And before we jump to our first discussion, because we have a guest here, I first wanted to ask my colleague, Maria. Now, Maria, what do you think the importance is of early childhood education?
I think it's really important because it builds your child's confidence, it builds your child's ability to learn by themselves, not just to be taught by their teachers, but also their creativity in their own mind.
That's very good. That's very, very good. Now we're gonna talk more about that, but before that, we're gonna check out some interesting facts about early childhood education. Early childhood education plays a vital role in children's development. It provides a strong foundation for later academic, social, and emotional growth. During these formative years, a child's brain is like a sponge because they can absorb any new information and experience at a remarkable rate.
Early childhood education programs and teachers are invaluable in this critical time since they offer structured, creative environments to nurture children's development. Kids can also develop essential tools and skills which will help them later in life by engaging in well-designed programs. So there are many options for early childhood education methods. One of the more popular is the Montessori method. To tell us more about this method and how it can be implemented at home, especially because Rangga and I are parents, we will talk with Montessori Haus Asia founder and academic director Rosalynn Tamara. So thank you so much, Rosalynn Tamara, for coming to see today. What shall I call you?
Miss Rosa.
Miss Rosa. Okay.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you so much for coming here in our studio. Can you tell us what the Montessori method is and what are its core principles?
All right. Everybody's talking about Montessori.
Yes.
And everybody knows Montessori as an approach
Yes.
to the early childhood education.
Yep.
However, that we can learn that Montessori is not only an approach, but it can be a lifestyle.
Wow.
Montessori is no longer only an education approach, but how we can respond to life itself.
Wow.
Wow, so
That's
deep,
very
right?
philosophical.
Yes, it is.
Right.
Yes, it is. And the core principle is how we, as the adult, parents, and also educators, we can be so much respectful towards our children.
children.
Yes, it is. So that our children will be able to raise their lives
Yep.
as a respectful human beings and being respectful also towards others.
Yep.
And we're hoping one day all of the human beings will be living in peace. That is the greater goals.
Yep.
The core principles that also we can learn from the Montessori, also the freedom within limits.
Yep.
Okay.
Giving freedoms, but the discipline will be raised through the freedom. Because when they choose what they want to do, when they can decide what they want to do,
Yeah.
everything comes with the consequences.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So the children, actually, they are learning. They are learning through the natural consequences, and we, as the adult, we can be the role model.
Yep.
And I think that is the most difficult one,
Yes.
Right.
right?
Right.
Because we need to be consistent. We need to be committed.
Right.
We need to show them how to live in a positive life,
Yep. That's true.
Right.
how to deal with the dynamic
Yep.
of life
Yep.
itself.
Yep. Yep.
So that I think the most important is the point of view
Yep.
about the child, about our roles, about everything that the child needs
Yep.
to construct themselves in life itself.
Wow, very deep actually.
Yes,
So
yes.
to explain the core principle, it's not really that simple. It's not a
Yes, it
straightforward
is.
line. You really have to understand a lot of stuff, and then you
Right.
explained it right now, which is very complete, I think. Now, what can you tell us a little bit then? What's actually now defining the Montessori method?
Montessori method focusing on the child's needs, how the child develop himself, and how this method focusing on the child's self-construction.
Okay.
Each of us, we are adults already,
Yes.
but none of us not passing the early childhood stage.
Right.
Every one of us will pass the early childhood stage, and that is the foundation of life. Meaning to say, we can have our bachelor degree for again and again and again
Yeah,
in the
that's true.
university,
Yeah.
but your early childhood only passed once in a lifetime.
Yep.
So that Montessori asks us how to build a life that is happier if you do not put your concern in that stage. The earliest stage in the human life is the early childhood life. So that this makes us thinking what we want to invest, what we want to do as parents. We want to give the best.
Yep.
And what is the best? Is it the highest rate of schools in our country? Or it is the most expensive toys that we can buy?
Yep.
Or it is like the highest paid tutor or teachers?
Yep.
Or what? And at the end, we want to invest in our children. We want to give the best foundation to start their life.
I see.
And what we are today, it is what we built when we were a child.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
Because life,
I agree.
yes, life not begins when you were in university.
Yeah.
Sure.
It
Everybody
begins
said
even
that.
in the womb.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, because
That's
when
really
I was
correct.
pregnant with my first, I read a Montessori book for babies.
Okay.
So yeah, that was very interesting for me. I learned that the Montessori way can benefit the children, children's learning when they're at school. But can you explain a little bit more detail, like in the way they're more confident and in their mental health probably when
Yes.
they're in school compared to others who didn't take the Montessori learning way.
Right. Maybe we can take it like this. In the Montessori school, we give children what we call it the prepared environment.
The
Prepared yes,
environment.
prepared environment. That is the classroom with a small furniture, with the small items that the children can handle by themselves. Can you imagine like a house?
Independent.
Right. They can take it by themselves, not asking you anytime that they want to take something, and they can use it independently. They know how to do it. And also, they have freedom to roaming around, to find what they need the most. And whatever that the children choose, it's not a random chosen. They choose it because they need it.
Yep.
And then how the adult will give them freedom, but within limits. So that through that limitation also, children will learn how to live their lives. Children will learn the consequences.
Yep.
Children will learn how to socialize. Children also will learn how I can use the things according to the functions.
I see.
So it's very important,
That's
right?
very interesting. Yeah.
Independence is there.
Because everything is based on their interests
Yes, it is.
and their needs.
yes,
right?
it is. Yes, it is. We want also to build the concentration.
Yeah.
Because that is
Focus.
the key, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
it is. When we give birth to our baby, the focus is already there.
Yeah.
It is innate,
Yeah.
but not the concentration.
Yeah.
Concentration is something you will build
Yep.
as a human being.
Yep,
And
that's
how to develop the concentration? If you do not have the interest, it's
Yeah.
going to be so difficult.
It's gonna be a waste of time.
Yes,
like
it
you're
is.
forced to do something that you don't want to. Right. Yeah.
This is something that we don't get in the conventional
Yep.
schools
Yeah,
usually.
yeah.
In the traditional way, you just need to sit down and listen
Yeah.
only one way direction.
Like
of
everything is given
conversation.
to us, right?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Yeah, because I didn't attend a Montessori school when I was.
No, neither did
Well,
I.
me too. Me
Yeah,
too.
yeah, yeah.
But
So,
however, it is
Rosa,
very
you were saying
interesting.
conventional schooling or a traditional method of teaching kids. Now, Montessori is definitely different than that. So, if we were to ask you, what are the, let's say, key developmental stages for the Montessori, for kids that are actually in the Montessori method? Because, for example, for us that went to traditional schooling, it's easy. I mean, there's a test, you take a test, and
Right.
you get a grade of whether it's a lettering grade or just
Right.
numbering grade. You can tell. But in Montessori, I'm pretty sure it's going to be different.
Yes, it is. There are 4 stages. The first one is 0 to 6 years old, and the second one is 6 to 12 years old, and then the third one, 12 to 18 years old, And the last one is 18 to 24 years old.
Oh,
you go
until
that
you finish university, they're
Yes.
still okay.
Okay.
That's
And
right.
then when you hit 24, you are an adult.
Yeah.
It is not like you got the ID, then you are an
Then
adult,
you're an adult.
right? The psychological development.
Yep.
Okay.
And then we know that Montessori really concerned in early childhood age, 0 to 6. That is the first one. And then after that, she developed the 6 to 12, and so on. And if we see, every stages has its own needs, its own approach, and how we respond. Because the differences is very, I can say, so big, the difference between 0 to 6 and 6 to 12. And then what we can understand and what we want to see from the children is the normal developmental stages, of course. We want to see it not only in cognitive stage, but also in the language, also in social, emotional, physical. So we can say it's holistic.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We cannot say only, oh, we want 0 to 6 that children will be able to read and write. That is what we believe, right, in Indonesia. But however, we want them to continue the journey.
Yep.
0 to 6, it is the foundation of 6 to 12.
Yeah.
And 6 to 12, foundation of 12
12
to
to
18.
18.
Yes, it
And
is.
so on, yeah.
And so on. So we cannot skip. Nobody can skip it.
Yeah.
If one is missing, the key development is missing, we need to fulfill
Yeah.
again in a different stage. And it is such a hassle for the child.
Oh wow, this is really an eye-opening. Actually, I mean,
Yeah,
for me
right.
personally, that you actually have 4 stages to becoming a full adult.
Yes,
in
it is.
life,
Yeah.
according to the Montessori method.
Yes,
it's
it is.
really, it's just amazing. I mean, it's not just going to school, going to classrooms, and then being
Right.
fed information,
Yeah,
being
yeah,
fed
yeah, yeah.
knowledge.
It's
But
very-
you also need to be very creative, and you kind of, like you said, psychologically have to develop.
Yes,
right?
it is.
It's very different than the way our teachers thought
Right.
about us, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
And yeah, I'm curious, what role do parents and teachers play in the Montessori method? Because when I read the Montessori baby book,
Yes.
I learned that even from baby's age, the Montessori way can be implemented at home. Like when they do tummy time, we place mirrors in front of them so they can know their body parts.
That's
like as
true.
simple as that. And
Yes, it
they
is.
learn from a very young age what they have, who they are, what they can do. So what roles do parents and teachers play in the child's development besides giving limitations for their independence?
When we see adult and a child, especially parents and the child will always look into the parents as the role model.
Ah,
So that is the biggest part because children, since very young, they will mimic.
yeah,
They will mimic first
Yeah.
before they will be able to develop their own way.
yeah, yeah.
So it's very, very crucial that I can say how we respond, and that will be something that the children will absorb and do the same.
So
How
how
you
we
talk.
treat them,
Right.
actually they learn from it
Yes, it is.
to be an adult. I mean,
Right.
to become better when they're adults.
Yes,
I mean,
it is. And how you make them feel.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They also learn from it.
Right,
Wow,
right,
that's
right,
really
right,
interesting. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I think the most difficult one
Yeah.
is sometimes we think as parents, the child will not understand what we say to our partners.
But then they see everything.
Yes,
they
it
can
is.
copy everything.
That's very true.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
so very tricky, right?
Yeah, yeah, because they're great observers.
Yes, yes,
We have
they
to
are.
be careful, Ranga.
It's like a sponge, right? Yeah,
Yes,
you have to be
absorb
careful
everything.
when you're around them, what you say, what you do. They
Yes,
can
it
copy
is.
everything.
Yeah, they see everything.
Towards
They
your
hear everything.
spouse, towards maybe somebody that help you at home.
Yeah, yeah, towards our helpers,
Right,
yeah, our
towards
friends.
the families,
Yeah, yeah.
towards the friends, and that will arrange how the child will think about the world, about life.
Wow, 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 wow.
So that is
Even
why
though it's
we
that
have to
early
be careful.
in their life, they can already
Yes, it is.
absorb that.
That's very true.
All right, guys, very interesting discussion we are having right now with Miss Rosa. But we're going to take a quick break. But don't you go anywhere because See the Stories will continue after the break. Stay tuned.